Hello and welcome to Dr. Shiny Tarot. This is a daily pick a card reading for December 13th, which is Sunday. And the purpose of this reading is to give you a brief piece of advice or to help guide your overall focus for the day. And if you are looking for a longer, more detailed reading, please check out my channel. If you are new to pick a card readings, the way this works is that you'll choose one of the three piles here, and then you'll scroll down to the description and find the timestamp for your particular choice and skip ahead in the video to see your individualized reading. Now, if you do feel compelled to pick more than one card, that is totally fine. Please follow your intuition. Sometimes you're going to be drawn to one, sometimes you're going to be drawn to two, or maybe even all three. But it's completely fine, whatever you feel you should watch. Now, there is good advice probably in each one of these, so it's certainly going to be helpful if you watch all of them. Now, I've added 3 crystals here to aid in your selection. And today we have Adventurine. We have Amethyst and a Labradorite with a really pretty flash there. So I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to meditate and make your selection, and we'll give you some silence for that time if you wish. And then when you're done, when you've made your selection, please scroll down to the description and click on the timestamp for your selection. All right, and we'll go ahead and start that 30 seconds right now. Okay, so if you have not already done so, please make your choice and then scroll down to the description and click on the timestamp for your choice to skip ahead. So, let me back this up just a little bit so we have some space. Kind of tilted. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and start with card number 1. This is the Adventurine. If you chose Adventurine, I'm going to change the format a little bit today to make this a little clearer and easier to understand and to possibly get a little more meaning out of it. So I was doing a cross like this, but instead of that, I'm just going to do the 3 cards across like so. So we have your situation, and let me move these down a little bit so you can see your cards better. And we can give you a little better view. So you're going to have your situation here. This is the challenge, the crossing energy, but it's what's challenging you. And then this is your advice for making it through. Okay, so what you have today is this Queen of Cups in the reverse. So this can mean that your emotions have kind of boiled over a little bit. They've got the better of you. And you haven't exactly kept your cool completely. You're normally a fairly reserved or calm person, or at the very least you're somewhat in touch with your emotions and not a stranger to them. But in this case, they kind of like got out of control a little bit, or you just felt a very, very strong uprising of emotion. Sometimes it can feel like you're drowning in emotion just a little bit. Now, the challenge, probably something to do with this, is this 5 of Swords. And that 5 of Swords represents like a conflict of thought. This could be like an argument or something that you had, but leaving that argument, it leaves you feeling kind of bad, kind of like you've burned a bridge or said some things that you may regret. Maybe you were a little bit meaner than you normally would be, or that you felt that you wanted to be, but in the moment in the emotional outburst, you can kind of make some mistakes and be a little bit more harsh than you really want to. So this kind of it has to do with like how you perceive things. Swords represent thought, so there's kind of like a mismatch of ideas here, or a conflict of ideas. One person sees it one way, one person is seeing it another. Perception is a little different, and that caused some tension or some issue that kind of drove a wedge between you. But these are not issues between people that you really just don't care about at all. They're not necessarily like enemies. A lot of times these are like power struggles. You're feeling like somebody is making your life more difficult, or holding you back when you're trying to do better. But it could just be in more of like a personal relationship, just having a different idea about the way to proceed on something, and you had a little bit of an outburst, right? So your advice for the current situation is this Six of Wands in the reverse. However, so what this is saying is that you may feel that you were a little bit unrewarded for your efforts, or that somebody is not quite seeing your side of things. They're not seeing how difficult it's been for you, or how much effort you've put in and how much success you've had. They may be making light of you or belittling you a little bit. So that's a very easy thing to get frustrated about. And the advice here is to have confidence in yourself, have confidence in knowing that you're worthwhile, and not having to seek external validation from somebody else. That make your achievements known, be proud of them, wear them, and more than that, allow them to be the seed of your emotional response, rather than anger at somebody else's refusal to acknowledge you, right? Because somebody else refusing to acknowledge you is probably a lot more to do with ego than it is some acknowledgement of reality, because you do have accomplishments and you do deserve respect and love and all that stuff. So if somebody's kind of not seeing your side of things, or not awarding you for your hard work, then number one, that is a problem for them, because in the long run, you're going to, if you can learn to respect yourself, you're not going to continue to give that person the benefit of your abilities and your success. You're going to move on, right? So keep that in mind. Keep in mind that you don't need to be awarded for your hard work, as long as you are acknowledging it yourself, and kind of taking a mental note of your own worth. And when it comes time to be paid for that, or to be repaid for your hard work, you have to demand, not demands maybe strong, but you can't be taken advantage of. You have to be able to recognize your own worth. Okay, so that's about it for card number 1. Pretty cool. I am liking the change of format. Okay, so this will be for card number 2 if you chose the Amethyst. This is for you. So you have the 3 of Swords, the 6 of Cups, and the 7 of Pentacles. Okay, so the 3 of Swords is your situation. This is a little bit of upset or heartbreak. Could be a loss of some kind. Not always like a loss of like a person or a a pet or something dear, or even like a loss in the material aspect of things, but sometimes this can be those things, but it's not going to be those things for everybody. For some people, this is just sort of taking a choice and leaving some other path behind. But in general, there's a little bit of sadness associated with this, where you're feeling a little down about something, And the challenge that you're facing here, and probably something to do with this Three of Swords, is the Six of Cups. This has a lot to do with nostalgia and looking back into the past, into childhood, fonder memories. And in the context of a challenge for this Three of Wands, it could be that you're looking back at how things were, a little bit stuck in the past, right? Like a little bit feeling maybe some regret, or maybe feeling like things didn't work out the way that you wanted them to, or just in general, there's something in the past that you're kind of hanging on to. It could be like a friendship that you've lost, or a loved one, or something like that. Or it could be just some regret that you didn't go down a different path. In either or in any of those senses, what's going on here is that there's some heartbreak that is being caused by some memories of the past, or clinging to those memories. Now, your advice for the current situation is in this Seven of Pentacles. This card is about, this guy's a farmer, obviously, here, and he's got his little crop that he's looking at. And he's put a lot of hard work in. He's come a long way, and he's almost ready to harvest that work, but he's not quite there yet. It's like he can see the fruit, but it's just not, you don't want to pick it before it's ripe, right? So this is, waiting for that success and feeling like it's not, sometimes it can feel like it's delayed, or it's not really there yet, even when you want it to be. But it's a reminder that, that all that hard work is going to amount to something. It is going to pay off. So everything that you've been through is not a waste, even if you didn't end up exactly where you wanted to, even if you look back into the past and think, like, God, it really sucks that I have to leave such and such behind. If you look into the present and the future, you'll find that you're not left with nothing, right? You have another set of circumstances, and if you can learn to focus on being grateful for what you do have instead of like what's left behind and lost, you will definitely find joy in the present moment. And really, that's kind of what life is about a little bit. Things are never, everything passes away, everything changes constant, change is a constant, and nothing's ever going to remain static. You're never going to be happy all the time. There's never going to be all good and no bad, that kind of thing. So if you can learn to have an appreciation for what you have accomplished and what you do have, that's how you find that joy that can't be taken away. So that's the advice for this situation, is to not look at the past for all of the regret that you have, but look at also how far you've come. Look at all the things that you've done. Look at all the good choices that you've made, and not just the bad ones. We've all made bad choices. Every one of us has made bad choices, but we've also all made some good choices, some good decisions. And if you're having trouble thinking of any good decisions that you've made, that is a sure bet that you are being a little too hard on yourself, or your emotional state is affecting your judgment. So make an effort in either case to condition your mind to be more healthy, or to have a more positive self-talk and that kind of thing, to give you a brighter outlook on your future, because you have to. The world's not going to do it for you. People around you are not going to do it for you. You have to do it yourself. You have to guide your own viewpoint. You know what I mean? Your own perspective. You're going to have to take some responsibility for that. But it's not that difficult to do once you get to practicing and learn how. So that's about it for card number 2. Don't mean to get all preachy and self-help there, but it kind of feels like that was called for in that situation. So that was for the Amethyst. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move on to card number 3. This is for Labradorite. This has a really cool, I'm trying to find has a really cool shine to it. Like, there it is. Beautiful. So this is for Labradorite. your situation is this Queen of Swords. What's crossing or challenging you is this Knight of Swords. And then your advice is the Strength. Okay, so that makes sense. So, Queen of Swords, this is a person who's a really deliberate thinker. She has things planned out really well. She doesn't make a lot of mistakes. She's got a really good grasp on the situation. She knows what she's talking about. She doesn't go manipulating people or anything like that, but she's a very wise person. She's a sharp thinker. She can be somewhat intimidating sometimes. So this is your current situation. This is you have the facts figured out. You know what's going on. You know the best way forward. So what's challenging you here is this Knight of Swords. So there could be some impulses or some tendencies within you to kind of rush things and not think them all the way through, to not utilize your gift for planning things through, and to kind of rush into the situation. Or this could be an external influence. This could be somebody who is, kind of trying to fight you for control of the situation a little bit. Not fight, but, trying to grasp control of the situation over you. And this other energy is a lot more, act first and think later. So they're still a smart person. They're still intellectually capable and everything, but they don't quite have the maturity of the Queen, and so they have a tendency to jump into the situation a little bit quicker, with less care. So this could be a problem for you because you know better a little bit, right? And there's like a struggle going on with who's right in this situation. Or if this is talking about just two forces within yourself, it's like you, on the one hand, you know that you need to plan this out and be careful, but on the other hand, you're feeling like a little impulsive, like you want to go do something that you kind of know you shouldn't, right? So there's two possible ways of looking at that. But your advice is the Strength card. Now, the Strength, it's not talking about external strength. It's not talking about like physical strength. This is inner strength. This is, there's always this delicate feminine figure who is caressing or holding the mouth of a lion. And that big beast could easily maim her, right? But he doesn't, because she has this willpower, this steady strength, this inner strength, and she remains unfazed and unafraid. And the lion, he respects that because he's a ferocious monster. So anything that acts like it is afraid of the lion instinctively makes that lion think that's either prey or that's an enemy, right? So because she's able to just control her reactions and have that sort of inner strength, the lion is not threatened, but also doesn't eat her, and instead kind of befriends her. And because of that, she's able to obtain the strength of the lion because she's made a friend with the lion, right? So that's an incredible form of strength. This kind of harkens back to like Daniel in the lion's den, how Daniel was thrown into the lion's den, and there was, or he wasn't afraid because he had faith, right? And the lions did not eat him, to everyone's surprise, the next morning. So, this is asking you to get in touch with that inner strength of the Queen of Swords. Know that you have that sort of stability within you, or the potential for it, and find it, right? So this is a strong reason not to be impulsive in this situation, that if there is a quick and easy path, and you kind of feel like you should take the more careful path, that is definitely going to be a good way to go this time, for this day. May not always be that way, but on this day, it is. On this day, you're going to want to defer to your more mature side of that Queen of Swords energy. You're going to want to remember that inner strength and stability, And this will also be a good way to deal with the Knight of Swords if it is another person instead of being another force within you. If this is somebody else, deal with a sort of firm confidence that you that is almost intoxicating, right, or powerful, charismatic, so that the Knight of Swords learns to sort of follow you. Or at least is encouraged by the amount of confidence that you have. Don't sort of beat around the bush or use those qualifying words like, well, I maybe think you ought to do this. No, it's we have to do it this way, and this is why. You know what I mean? Be straight and to the point, and firm and confident, and that's how you'll deal with that Knight of Swords challenge there. So that's about it for today's daily tarot reading. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please subscribe, leave comments or likes. I love them. And I'll see you guys on the next video.